The chosen one? Listen. The fiercest battles in life don't take place on visible battlefields, but in subtle whispers, on the stairways of life's journey, and in the shadowy corners of relationships that seem close. Know this: over 65% of friendships can crumble when the energy of competition begins to seep in. Surprising, isn't it? Now imagine this. You're not just a witness to this turmoil, you are its center, a priceless gift. A soul being fought over, desired, plotted against, and sometimes silently envied. But there's a secret you need to understand. This isn't a fairy tale where the chosen soul is showered with endless praise and admiration. No, this is a stage of life filled with trials, where loyalty is tested, secrets are unveiled, and relationships morph into something unrecognizable. Picture yourself as part of a grand drama brimming with emotional dynamics, even though you never chose to participate. The stakes? Your inner peace. Being the center of attention might sound like a noble calling, but in reality, it can be soul-draining. And as those around you fight to win you, there may come a quiet moment when you ask yourself, do I even want to be part of this? Prepare yourself, chosen soul. What lies ahead is a journey full of lessons. This chaos may seem unexpected, even heavy at times, but behind it all, there is wisdom waiting to be uncovered. If you remain calm and listen to the call of your heart. Chapter 1. The chosen soul, or the chosen target. Being chosen sounds like an honor, but when you become the prize in a secret competition, it's far from pleasant. It's a nightmare. Suddenly, you're no longer a person with thoughts, feelings, or freedom. You become a target, a symbol of power, a trophy to be flaunted. What makes this situation even more dangerous is the intensity of the battle. You're no longer seen as a friend, confidant, or equal as you once were. To them, you've transformed into a status symbol they're willing to destroy each other for. The danger isn't just in the rivalry itself, but in how people start treating you. Their smiles are no longer genuine. They're weapons. Every compliment feels laced with hidden agendas. Conversations are filled with ulterior motives, as though every word spoken is part of an unspoken strategy. It's no longer about valuing you for who you are. Now it's about who can outwit, outlast, or outmaneuver the others to get closer to you. What's truly unsettling is how quickly those you once trusted can turn against each other and against you. To them, you're no longer a human being. You're the ultimate prize. And in their quest to win, they might not stop to consider the cost. Friendships are shattered, boundaries are crossed, and the air becomes thick with tension and unspoken resentment. The most frightening part? It's not just about what they're willing to do to each other, but what they might do to you. As the prize, you're under constant scrutiny, and every move you make can become ammunition in this cruel game. Being chosen doesn't always mean receiving praise. Sometimes it's a trap. Chapter 2. The thin line between friendship and chaos. Friendship is supposed to be built on trust, loyalty, and mutual respect. But when competition starts to creep in, that foundation cracks faster than anyone is willing to admit. Suddenly, everything feels different. Conversations become shorter, laughter sounds forced, and the warmth that once defined your relationship slowly fades. At first, these changes are subtle, like shadows creeping into a bright room. But it doesn't take long before the bitter truth surfaces. The people you considered friends are no longer playing fair. What makes this shift so unsettling is how quickly it happens. One moment, they're supporting you. The next, they're secretly tearing each other down in front of you. Compliments are now tinged with passive-aggressive undertones, and plans are made without including certain people, creating cracks within the group. Friendship is no longer about enjoying time together. Now, it's about who holds more control. And the most painful part? It's not even about you. Yes, you might be the focus of this rivalry, but their actions reveal that this isn't about appreciating or valuing you. It's about their egos. Winning the competition becomes a way to prove something, not to you, but to themselves and each other. The thin line between friendship and chaos has been crossed, and there's no going back. Trust is shattered. You start questioning everyone's motives, wondering if what they say or do is still genuine. Even those who don't appear competitive become part of the chaos, whether by choosing to stay silent or taking sides. Here's the harsh reality: competition doesn't bring out the best in people, it reveals the cracks in their character. And once those cracks are visible, it's impossible to see them the same way again. Friendship doesn't just waver in the face of rivalry, it completely collapses. Chapter 3. The subtle objectification behind admiration. Being the chosen one might feel flattering at first, but let's be honest, it's not about being admired, it's about being objectified. Worse yet, this objectification is cleverly disguised. People shower you with attention, compliments, and gestures that seem genuine. But beneath it all, it's not about you as a person. It's about what you represent. You are no longer seen as a whole individual with depth and complexity. Instead, you are reduced to a prize, a status symbol, or worse, a tool in their personal game. This shift is so subtle that it initially looks like admiration. They act as though they care about you, but their actions are more about their own victory than appreciating your thoughts, choices, or feelings. Every "how are you" starts to feel calculated. Every kind word seems suspect. It's not about getting to know you better, but about staying one step ahead of others. What's truly unsettling is how this changes the way they interact with you. Instead of genuine connection, you're met with performance. People say what they think you want to hear. They shape their behavior to align with what they believe will make them more appealing, oblivious to how dehumanizing it is. To them, you are no longer a person. You are a prize they feel entitled to win. And then there's the fallout. When someone doesn't win, the mask comes off. Resentment bubbles to the surface. Those who once pretended to adore you may start blaming you for their failures, as if your existence were the cause. Objectification isn't just harmful, it's toxic. It strips away your uniqueness and traps you in someone else's narrative, where your value is dictated by their selfish need to win, not by who you truly are. Chapter 4. Competition destroys authenticity. Competition changes everything. What once felt effortless, warm, and genuine suddenly becomes calculated, as though every word, action, or gesture is part of an unspoken strategy. Rivalry has a corrosive effect, not just creating tension but eroding the authenticity that forms the foundation of friendships. People stop being themselves. They transform into players in a game that must be won at any cost. The dynamics shift. Casual conversations feel heavy, as though there's a hidden agenda behind seemingly harmless questions. Compliments no longer feel sincere. They're overly exaggerated or strategically placed to mask true intentions. Even silence becomes suspicious. Are they holding back, plotting something, or waiting for the right moment to act? As competition intensifies, loyalty begins to fade. Friends start keeping secrets, withholding information, and doing things they would never have considered before. The camaraderie that once made friendships special slowly fades, replaced by a cold, calculated need to outdo others. Worse still, betrayal starts to feel normal. They convince themselves it's nothing personal, just part of the game. But the damage is undeniable. Trust is eroded by every hidden motive, every fake smile, and every whispered rumor. Betrayal becomes a survival strategy, and manipulation turns into a habit. You no longer recognize the people you once trusted because they've stopped being who they truly are. Authenticity isn't just disrupted, it's completely shattered. What remains is a group of strangers playing roles, each willing to sacrifice integrity and friendship to win. And even after the competition ends, the wounds remain. Betrayal, lies, and broken trust don't just fade away. Friendships that once seemed unshakable now lie in ruins, leaving everyone to wonder if it was ever real in the first place. Chapter 5. You are a dangerous prize, not a trophy. Being called a prize might sound flattering, but it's a double-edged sword, especially when you're not just any prize but a dangerous one. Unlike a trophy that's polished, placed on a shelf, and admired from a distance, you're at the center of a battle far from safe. When people compete for something as personal as another human being, it's not just about winning. It's about dominating, controlling, and proving a point. Such obsession doesn't just put you in the spotlight, it places you in danger. The danger lies in the intensity of the fight. People don't just want to have you, they want to own you, to declare victory over everyone else. You stop being an individual with your own thoughts and boundaries. Instead, you become a symbol of their success, their pride, their need to feel superior to others. And the ugliness of the fight spills over. Every move you make is scrutinized. Every choice you make is questioned. If you're too friendly with someone, it sparks jealousy in others. If you try to withdraw, it's seen as taking sides or rejecting them. You're trapped in a storm that only grows stronger as you attempt to escape. Worse still, being a prize doesn't guarantee you'll be treated well once the fight is over. By the time someone wins, they've already reduced you to something they believe they own, not someone they truly value. And in the chaos, pieces of you are eroded. Your sense of self, your peace, your trust in others. A dangerous prize isn't admired. It's fought over, misused, and often destroyed in the process. And the most painful part? It's a fight you never asked to be part of. Chapter 6. The Erosion of Consent. Consent should be the foundation of respect, but in a covert competition where you are the prize, that foundation crumbles. You are treated as something to be fought over, a reward to be claimed, while your voice, choices, and agency are conveniently ignored. This isn't just dehumanization, it's invasive and deeply unsettling. The assumption that others can decide your value, your future, or your relationships without involving you is a blatant violation. What makes this even more disturbing is how normalized it becomes within the competition. People act as if this is how things are supposed to be. You're not asked what you want, you're simply expected to play along. Your role has been scripted for you, to sit quietly on the sidelines while others fight, as though you're incapable of making your own decisions. This isn't about you. It's about them and their need to assert dominance, to prove they are better, stronger, or more deserving than anyone else. Yet every decision they make in this fight erodes your autonomy. They talk about you, plan around you, and strategize as though you are an object to be obtained, not a person with your own mind and preferences. This erosion of consent isn't just insulting, it's deeply unsettling. It creates an environment where your voice doesn't matter, your feelings are dismissed, and your humanity is sidelined. This isn't admiration, it's control disguised as desire. And the longer this game continues, the harder it becomes to reclaim your agency. By the time you step forward to say this isn't right, the damage is already done. They've built their competition around you without involving you, as if your consent was never a requirement in the first place. Chapter 7. The Sad Truth. People change when they desperately want something. When desire takes hold, it's shocking how quickly their true nature surfaces. Friends who once seemed polite and supportive, people you thought you knew, can suddenly become strangers. Cold, calculating, even ruthless. It's not that their ambition creates something new, it merely pulls back the mask. Hidden agendas, buried insecurities, and unspoken rivalries rise to the surface, leaving you questioning if the person you trusted ever truly existed. In competitive situations, every interaction starts to feel suspect. Warmth in their words feels hollow. The support they offer begins to seem transactional, and their actions appear more about positioning themselves closer to their goal than genuinely helping you. What once felt like kindness starts to resemble strategy, and as their ambitions grow, so does their willingness to trample anyone in their way, even you. The saddest part is how quickly loyalty can vanish. Someone who once celebrated your victories might now sabotage your efforts to stay ahead. A friend who confided their secrets to you may suddenly twist your words for their advantage. These shifts aren't just painful, they're bewildering. It feels like the ground beneath your relationships crumbles without warning, leaving you scrambling to discern who's genuine and who isn't. The most unsettling aspect is how this behavior often feels justified to those engaging in it. They convince themselves it's just the nature of competition, that their actions are necessary. But the truth is, these moments reveal something much darker. Their willingness to sacrifice trust, loyalty, and decency for their ambitions. Friendships that once seemed unshakable collapse under the weight of selfishness, and the damage is often irreparable. Once someone shows you what they're capable of when they want something, it's impossible to unsee it. Chapter 8. FOMO and the Fear of Losing. In competitions like these, it's not just about winning. It's the unbearable thought of losing, especially to someone else within the same circle. It feels deeply personal. It's not about love, admiration, or even respect for you as a person. It's about ego. The fear of losing you, or more precisely, of losing to someone else, is a stronger motivator than any genuine desire to be with you. What makes this fear so toxic is that it breeds obsession. Every glance you give someone else, every moment you spend with anyone who isn't them, feels like proof that they're falling behind. It stops being about connection or compatibility and becomes about victory. The prize isn't your affection, it's their own validation. They don't want to lose because losing means admitting defeat, feeling inadequate, and watching someone else take what they believe they deserve. This fear also fuels their worst behavior. People who once seemed calm and confident become desperate, willing to manipulate situations, spread rumors, or play mind games just to stay ahead. They might begin obsessively comparing themselves to others, picking apart flaws and exaggerating strengths as if life were a zero-sum game. In their mind, your attention isn't a choice you make. It's a battlefield they must conquer. And here's the irony. Their fear of losing you often overshadows their ability to truly connect with you. Instead of focusing on building something real, they fixate on the competition. As a result, you stop being part of the equation. You become a symbol, not a person. In the end, their obsession isn't about you at all, it's about their own insecurities. And in this kind of fight, no one truly wins. Chapter 9. Collateral Damage. When you become the target, the cost is far greater than it seems on the surface. As they fight for you, treating you like a priceless prize, the consequences ripple far beyond the competitors themselves. The collateral damage runs deeper and is unavoidable, seeping into your life even if you never wanted it. It's not merely a side effect of their rivalry, it's something you're forced to endure, painfully, even though your heart never intended to be part of the game. Behind the battle for your attention lies a negative energy that begins to erode your inner peace. Malicious schemes, subtle manipulations, and backstabbing become the poison that taints every interaction, creating a vortex of chaos that pulls you in, whether you want it or not. At first, you may be just a passive witness, someone who never sought this attention, but over time, you find yourself increasingly dragged into a conflict larger than you ever imagined. Those involved in this game start projecting their insecurities, deep frustrations, and painful manipulations onto you. Friends who once seemed supportive begin questioning your motives, twisting your words, and even blaming you for the drama that unfolds. The situation becomes exhausting, leaving you feeling trapped in a world you never chose. Every step you take confronts you with difficult decisions, to pick a side or face the fallout of refusing to choose. But the most painful part is the reality that you're the one hurt the most, no matter who ultimately emerges as the winner. When it's all over, you're left to piece together the fragments of broken relationships, shattered trust, and a sense of self worn down by the chaos. Friendships that once felt peaceful and genuine now seem fragile, and every interaction feels like a battlefield. You no longer know who is truly on your side and who is merely waiting for the chance to stab you in the back. In the end, the cost of being the target isn't just about the people fighting for your attention. It's about what they leave behind. The damage to your peace of mind, the cracks in your trust, and the inability to see these people the same way again. Their rivalry wasn't just a game. It was a war that left deep scars. And you're the one who pays the highest price. A cost that involves more than victory or defeat, but an inevitable change within yourself. Chapter 10. Do they want you, or just the victory? In life's journey, we are often faced with trials that awaken our awareness of the true dynamics of relationships. One of the most unsettling and eye-opening realizations is discovering that, in many cases, what appears to be sincerity and affection is actually a reflection of a deeper desire: the desire to win. At its core, many of those involved in this competition never truly want you as a person. but rather what you represent. A victory that can boost their ego, prove their superiority, and affirm their worth over others. It's not about pure love, not about genuine closeness, but about power, control, and self-validation. The desire to possess you isn't about uniting two souls in harmony. It's about claiming something that symbolizes triumph in an invisible battle. You are no longer a cherished individual with your own uniqueness and depth, but an object to be possessed as proof of their ability to outdo their rivals. When someone sees you as a trophy, they only see a fragment of who you are. Not your true self, but what they can demonstrate by having you. And herein lies the greatest danger. At that moment, the true meaning of your existence is diminished. A genuine relationship is built on trust, respect, and mutual appreciation. Someone who truly cares about you will seek to know you deeply, understand your feelings, and strive to create harmony amidst differences. But in competitions like these, all those qualities blur and become irrelevant. Their primary focus is not on knowing who you are, but on winning the competition, regardless of whether they truly want you or not. They simply want to defeat everyone around them, even if it means sacrificing your peace and well-being. This mindset is a toxin that slowly erodes relationships. When someone is only driven by the desire to win, you cease to matter. Once they've achieved their goal, you become a fleeting memory. Their feelings, if they ever existed, will fade as soon as they've proven their dominance, strength, and entitlement. What's even more concerning is that if you try to walk away from this game, they may not let you go. Their obsession with victory makes them feel entitled to you, and they will go to great lengths to maintain that control, even at the expense of your happiness. At this point, the question is no longer whether they truly want you. The real question is whether they can accept the reality that others also have a right to you. In a world built on ego and power, there's no room for authenticity. There's no room for relationships grounded in mutual respect and appreciation. All that exists is a destructive competition, exploiting emotions and human needs to inflate their egos. When competition is driven by the desire to prove oneself rather than to build a genuine connection, you are no longer part of their story. You become a tool in their game, a trophy they must claim to showcase their superiority. But we must remind ourselves that we are far too valuable to be treated this way. Our worth does not depend on who wants us or who can win us, but on who we truly are. On our priceless inner qualities, the peace that comes with self-acceptance, and the ability to recognize who truly deserves a place in our lives. In the end, we are faced with a choice. Will we allow ourselves to be trapped in this game, or will we stand firm in our truth and refuse to be part of a competition that leads only to destruction? We are precious souls, not trophies to be fought over. When we choose to live in this awareness, we not only free ourselves from these unhealthy games, but also open the door to more authentic relationships, ones built on pure love, mutual understanding, and immeasurable respect. Chapter 11. Forced to take sides, but every side is poisoned. In life, we often find ourselves caught between two choices, both shrouded in confusion and pain. When we become the prize in a game, no matter how hard we try to stay out of it, we feel pulled in and eventually trapped. Once we become the object of contention, the harsh reality is that we cannot escape the inevitable drama. No matter how much we wish to remain on the sidelines, the pressure is so overwhelming that we are forced to choose a side. Yet, every side feels poisoned. The people we once trusted wholeheartedly, whom we saw as true friends and allies, are now consumed by their own egos. Their ambitious desires and desperation to win have turned what was once filled with love, respect, and genuine friendship into a cruel battlefield. What used to be a warm, comforting space now feels like a war zone rife with division and confusion. We are placed in a difficult position where choosing one side feels like betrayal. If we support one party, we alienate the other. If we choose to remain neutral, we are seen as weak, indecisive, or even accused of secretly siding with one group. Ultimately, we feel trapped in a no-win situation where no matter what we do, we lose. As this game consumes everything, it feels like there's no room left to simply be ourselves. What's worse is the realization that it's no longer about us, but about the endless competition. This rivalry changes everything, reducing our feelings, boundaries, and well-being to mere afterthoughts compared to the desire to win. Even though we try our best to avoid the drama, the damage to the relationships around us becomes unavoidable. Trust that once existed is shattered, and bonds we thought unbreakable are now tainted by resentment, betrayal, and bitterness. Friendships that once seemed solid now feel fragile and easily broken. In the end, we realize that it doesn't matter who wins this competition. What truly changes is not just us, but everyone involved. We see how people we once considered close allies have turned into competitors or even strangers. The wounds left by these battles will never fully heal, and the memories of the chaos will haunt us long after the rivalry ends. At this point, we must accept the harsh truth that there is no true victory in this game. Whatever happens, the relationships we once had are irreparably damaged. Trust has been lost, and we are left to pick up the broken pieces. We wonder who was truly on our side from the beginning and whether anyone genuinely cared for us beyond their own interests. In moments like these, we learn that true victory is not about winning the competition, but about rising above it, healing ourselves, and rediscovering the strength to move forward despite the divisions that have occurred. Life teaches us not to get caught in games that destroy us, and to remember that our true worth is not determined by who chooses us or who wins. We are greater than that, and our strength lies in staying true to ourselves, even when the world around us seems full of conflict and division. Chapter 12. Your worth is not up for debate. The most dangerous thing about being caught in a competition for your attention is how quickly your worth becomes a topic of debate. When others start treating you as a prize to be won, they reduce your entire existence to a commodity, something to be claimed, evaluated, and compared to others. And once that happens, you lose control over your own identity. Your worth is no longer defined by your character, talents, or choices. It has been seized by the desires of those trying to prove they deserve it. This isn't just an uncomfortable situation. It's a violation of everything you stand for. Every moment spent as part of this twisted game chips away at your self-respect. Your worth should never be up for debate, but in the world of competition, it is constantly questioned, twisted, and manipulated to serve someone else's agenda. The more you allow others to dictate your value, the more you lose sight of your sense of self. You become a pawn in someone else's game, powerless to define your own worth. The key to breaking free from this cycle is to refuse to participate. The moment you reject the idea that others can define who you are, you reclaim your power. You stop allowing their egos, ambitions, and insecurities to dictate your place in the world. You stand firm in your own identity, refusing to be swayed by the toxic competition around you. Ultimately, you are not a prize to be won, nor a commodity to be fought over. Your worth is inherent, and it is never up for debate. Once you realize this, you reclaim what should have been yours all along: your autonomy, self-respect, and the ability to define your own value. At the end of the day, the real danger of being caught in a competition for your attention or affection isn't just the competition itself, but what it reveals about the people involved, and more importantly, what it takes from you. You are not a trophy to be claimed or a validation of someone else's worth. You are a person with desires, independence, and intrinsic value that cannot be measured or debated. When your identity becomes entangled in their game, you don't just lose the respect of those around you, you lose a part of yourself. But here's the beautiful truth. You have the power to reclaim that identity. Refuse to participate, set boundaries, and make it clear that your worth is not up for debate, and that no competition, no matter how intense, can diminish your value. Your worth is inherent, not dependent on anyone's approval or desire to win. By rejecting the chaos of competition and the toxic dynamics it brings, you embrace the peace and authenticity that comes with owning your narrative. Ultimately, you are not a pawn, a prize, or an object. You are the author of your own story, and in that story, you alone determine your worth. No one else. If this resonates with you and you want to explore more about the truths behind these twisted dynamics, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Join us on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and reclaiming your worth. You deserve to live life on your own terms, and we're here to help you do just that. Don't miss out. Subscribe now, and let's continue unraveling the complexities of life together. Your story is just beginning, and it's one you won't want to miss.